Former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney is making his first real attempts to win over the Tea Party. Over the weekend, he attended a Tea Party rally in New Hampshire. Today, he'll be in South Carolina, where Senator Jim DeMint's Tea Party presidential forum is drawing the top GOP contenders. Joining us live this morning from Washington, roll call political writer Shira Toeplitz, and from Manchester, New Hampshire, Ben Smith, senior political reporter for Politico. Welcome to both of you, and good morning. Happy Labor Day. Thanks for laboring for us this morning. Ben, let me ask you first about Mitt Romney in New Hampshire. This is sort of first foray to a Tea Party crowd. There was a counter kind of presence from the Freedom Works folks who don't like him. And you say the news from your perspective is that he didn't pander to the Tea Party crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people were watching to see whether he would try to...
How could you possibly explain that?
I don't know. We've got some sound in our ear. If you could hear that, where there's something bleeding through. But Ben, just try to talk over it, and we'll get them to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people were trying to figure out whether he would try to out-Tea Party Rick Perry, whether he would, you know, come out there and tell these guys exactly what they wanted to hear, which would be a bit of a departure from his record, from his past. And in fact, he didn't mention the word Tea Party. He gave a word-for-word standard stump speech, and he brought in maybe 50 people in blue T-shirts, about half the crowd. Some of whom kind of, you know, were clearly not Tea Party members. One of them, a Tea Party person, was saying had called the Tea Partiers a nut, or had called them nuts. You know, it was much more his own crowd that he brought in and spoke to. So
what is his comfort level, I guess, with the Tea Party, and how is he going to fare later today with Jim DeMint and Senator DeMint, and sort of trying to address this group on a broader scale?
I mean, I think his pitch to them is that he's as he said, a business guy. He's for free enterprise. He's a private sector guy. But he's not going to try to run as the candidate of conservative ideology. He's not going to run as... And I think, you know, basically, there's just no way he can plausibly get to the right of Rick Perry. So no way he can plausibly sell himself as more Rick Perry than Rick Perry. And at least the early indication was that he wasn't going to try. Sure,
let me ask you about Sarah Palin. She's in New Hampshire today for a Tea Party event. Saturday she was in Iowa. She's hitting these important states. She's not declared. Sarah Palin, is she a candidate? Is she a celebrity? Is she a kingmaker? Is she a speechmaker, a rainmaker? Well, I've never seen anything like this before. I mean, she's got 2 years of I guess, governor level public service under her belt. What is Sarah Palin?
You know, I've heard some people refer to her as a celebutician, a combination of a celebrity and a politician, kind of a nod to the reality show she did a couple years ago. I think that's probably the best way to describe her. Yes, is she a presence in the Republican Party? Sure. But does anyone look for her for policy positions, or is anything more than kind of someone who stirs the pot on the right? I don't think so at this point.
You don't think she'll run, do you?
I think it's very doubtful at this point. Look, we're getting really close to the Iowa caucuses, and it's a process to run for president in Iowa. You need to be there on the ground. You need to meet with voters one at a time. You just can't come in like the celebrity she may think she is and think she's going to have an upper hand immediately. I think every week that goes on, it gets more and more difficult for her to lay her claim to the nomination.
Ben, do you think she could still come in and make a run for the nomination?
You know, she certainly could. I mean, it's hard to see how she would actually win the nomination, but you know, no law against her running. She's been incredibly unpredictable in the past and could do it. I mean, what she did the day before yesterday in Iowa was actually pretty interesting. A lot of people expected her to take a look at Rick Perry, say, you know what, he's my kind of guy, he's a very conservative, he's a governor. She did not do that. She delivered this speech full of kind of veiled barbs at Perry, and I think at least showed she wants to continue to be a troublemaker in the race.
Shira, let me ask you about this big test maybe today for Governor Perry at the Jim DeMint, the Republican presidential event later today. How important is this for him?
Oh, I think it's pretty important, especially given how many debates we have coming up in the next few weeks. This is his first time he's going to sit down in South Carolina and answer questions by some of the so-called kingmakers in that state. For example, Senator Jim DeMint. We've seen him on the stump already. We know he's pretty good on the stump. We know he's good glad-handling voters and speaking with them. But this is going to be a different kind of test. We'll see how he does when someone's actually asking him questions.
Ben, you know it's Labor Day, and on Thursday we'll get the president's job speech. Senator DeMint telling our Candy Crowley that they want something in writing from the president with a price tag. They want to see what he's actually putting down on paper. Are the president's policies, what do you think is going to come out for the job speech? Is it dead on arrival? I mean, is the bent of the presidential candidates on the Republican side just to say no to whatever the president wants?
I mean, I think the Republicans will certainly be calling for something something quite different, massive rollbacks of regulations and taxes. But I think, the president may be able to propose sort of relatively small, kind of middle-of-the-road stuff like this Georgia Works unemployment insurance program that can get some kind of bipartisan support on the Hill.
Yeah, and that Georgia Works people got unemployment benefits, but they're also working for companies for free. So the companies got workers to try out, and the people were getting unemployment benefits. And the president has mentioned that as a program that he likes. Shira Toeplitz, thank you so much. Roll call, Ben Smith, Politico. Nice to see both of you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to be back in just a couple of minutes.